So now we are in AWS account. So what we'll do, we'll jump into the VPC directly. So if you observe, every region has a one default VPC. Okay, every region has one default VPC. That particular VPC, if you look at here, so if you look at here, there's a one default VPC with the 172.31.00/16. That is the default VPC we have in every account, every region. Okay, every region you have a one default VPC. So as per our requirement, if you look at here, we created two more VPCs here. We created two more VPCs. Okay, so if you look at here 10.0.0, 10.16. Okay, so such a way we created. So let us try to create a one more VPC now. Okay, here if you observe, here it is the create VPC option. Okay, you want to only create a VPC, or else you want to create a VPC with the different subnets, different routing tables, all those stuff. Let us try to create only VPC now. Let us say application production prod VPC something. Okay, prod VPC. Okay, so we can try to look at now. So okay, here the CIDR block, let us try to take 10.17. I'm taking already 16. I've already used 0.0/16. Let us say. Okay. Now, which tenancy we want to take, either default or dedicated. If you take dedicated, right, it will allocate dedicated hardware for you. We don't require that. Okay, there is additional charges involved for that dedicated hardware. So let us take a default one. Okay, that is fine. Okay, that is completely fine. Tags are very important, right? I told tags are very important to understand what is the name of that. If you want to add more tags like environment is production, let us say. Okay. Such a way you can try to tag like n number of tags you can. Once we tagged it, you can say just create a VPC. Done. So you tell me after, okay, let us say create VPC is created now. What else we require? Do you require anything more?
Subnets and
So what we discussed in a previous session is
routing table, subnets.
okay. Okay, let us try to look at okay. So what are the things we need to understand? So let me filter with this our VPC here. There are a lot of VPCs are there. So let us filter with our VPC. Okay. So which VPC we are okay, app prod, right? This is the VPC. I'm filtered now. When I filtered, right, you can see only our subnets. Do you have any subnets as of now in this VPC? As of now, we did not created any subnets. Is there any routing tables? Is there any routing tables in this VPC? No, as of now. So internet gateway? No. So what is the internet gateway first of all?
It will allows you the allows you the traffic.
Yeah, any traffic, right? Incoming and
Yeah,
outgoing, everything will happen with internet. So what
yeah.
we need now, we need to create an internet gateway first, right? For that VPC, we'll try to create an internet gateway. So how many internet gateways we can attach for our VPC is only one. Okay, we cannot attach more than one internet gateway for an VPC. Remember that. Okay. Let us say create internet gateway. I can say app prod hyphen IGW internet gateway. Okay. Create. Okay. We created gate. Okay, fine. But did we attach that gate to that VPC? No, right? So what I'll do now? Action. Attach to VPC. Which VPC we want to attach? App prod. Attach internet. Okay, so first task is completed. So we created a VPC and we attach that VPC to internet gateway. Okay. So now we'll try to look at subnets. Do you have any subnet as of now? No. Let us create a subnet. Okay. Create a subnet. Which VPC? This one. App Pro. Okay. What is the subnet name? What is the subnet name? Let us say public subnet 1. Okay. Public subnet 1. Which availability zone? Let us say 1 gig. That is fine. What is the CIDR block? Can I take 10.18 here? Okay, 10.18 here. Is that fine? Or 1.0 slash 24. Is that okay? Can I take this? Subnet CIDR block?
No, not possible.
Slash 16 means these two networks are blocked, right? 10.17, we cannot change that. We cannot exceed like we thought like compound wall kind of. We cannot exceed that, right? So it should be 17 only. It should be 17. If you want, you can say 0 or 1, that is fine. Okay. 0, 1, 2, up to 251. Okay, you can do it. Now I can say create subnet. Now tell me, subnet is created fine. Is this public subnet or private subnet?
By default, every subnet will be private only.
By default, every subnet is private. Correct. But how can we confirm whether it is on a public or private? Let us try to look at that. So if you look at, I'm trying to filter again this my VPC. Do you have any routing tables?
We don't have.
Come with one default routing table. See, there is a one default routing table actually. Whenever you create a VPC, by default, you'll get one default routing table. If you look at here, there is one routing table is there. If you look at what is the route in that, what is the routing mechanism is there, that is 10.17.0.0 locally it is connecting. That means within the subnets. Okay, if you want to connect all the subnets internally, we require one routing table. That is a default routing table, let us say. Okay. That is a default routing table. Okay, we can try to maintain. Clear? So by default, it is created. What it is actually for internal communication. Okay. That is fine. Let it. But in this routing mechanism, do we have any option to go to internet? No. That's why it is a private subnet. This particular routing table subnet, which are the subnets are associated with? Any subnet associated by default, okay? So one private subnet is there. So that's why it is in a default routing table. For internal communication point of view, we can use. Let us name it. Let us name it, okay? Okay, let's say app prod. Okay, hyphen default hyphen RT. RT means routing table. Okay, fine. My naming convention, that's up to you. And now what we'll do, we'll try to create one routing table now. What we'll do? We'll create a routing tables. In our VPC point of view, okay, if you want to filter that, our VPC. In our VPC point of view, we have only one routing table. What I'll do, I'll create a one more routing table. I'll name it as, instead of default, I make it as public. Some naming convention. In which VPC we want to create? App Pro. Okay. Now create a routing. Routing table is created. Okay, well and good. What is the route we have? What is the route we have? Local only we have. We have still local only. So what I want to do? Okay, what I want to do? I want to associate, I want to update a route to reach to the internet. That is what we discussed, right? There should be a routing table if it is associated to internet gateway and subnet. That will become public. So if you look at now, I'll add a one route here, edit routes, add route. This is the internet, 0.0.0.0 means there is no restriction, right? Internet. Tell me, how can we go to internet? Which one I have to take?
NAT gateway.
No. We want to make it public subnet, right?
Yes.
Internet gateway.
Internet gateway. So now if I attached a internet. But which internet gateway? This I created, right? In some time back, app prod IGW. Okay, save it. Now we have a routing table which has internal connectivity as well as how to go to internet with this particular internet gateway. Okay. Okay, fine. So let me try to tell you that what we have done till now. Okay, so what we have done till now. We created an VPC. We created an internet gateway. We created a subnet, right? We created a subnet. Now, what we did, we created one customized routing table. There we added the routing. Hey, if you want to go to internet, go through this internet gateway. That is what I told you. Is that clear till now? We created on a VPC. Internet gateway we attached. Created one created one subnet. Created one routing table associated with the internet gateway. If you want to reach to internet, go with internet gateway. That is what we told. Now what we have to do, we have to associate this subnet with this routing table. So now this will become public. Okay, let us try to associate that now. So what we can do here, association, subnet association. There's one subnet, right? So what I do, edit associations, select that, save it. Now you see subnet associations, we have one subnet, public subnet one. Now this subnet is public or private? Now, is this public subnet? This subnet is public or private? By looking at name, we cannot confirm. By
Yes.
looking at name, we cannot confirm. How can we confirm? If you look at a routing table, which routing table this subnet is associated? Okay, this routing table. Okay. In this routing table, we have an option to reach internet with internet gateway. Okay, it is public subnet. If you see here NAT gateway, it is a private subnet.
Okay.
Okay, it is 0.0.0.0. That is okay, fine. Internet, it is reaching internet, fine. But how it is reaching internet? Through internet gateway, public subnet. Through NAT gateway, private subnet. That is the only the difference. Public and private. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now, in our subnet, in our VPC, we have two routing tables. One is a default routing table that is generally private point of view. Another one is public routing table. In the public routing tables, we have a routing mechanism to reach to the internet, through internet gateway. Okay. So if you want, you can create one more subnet. Okay. We'll create one more subnet. Create a subnet. Okay, which VPC? This one. What is the subnet name? Private subnet 1. Which availability zone? Same availability zone I'm selecting.
Same.
Okay, let us say 10.17. 0.0, is that allowed? 10.0, okay, 10.17, 0.0 is allowed. What is the previous one we have taken? Okay, so now I'm taking 0.1 or 1.1, 2.1, 3.0, 4.0. You can try to create like that. So let us try to create it. So now we have two subnets in our VPC, two subnets. One is on 10.17, 0.0/24, 1.0/. Next, you can create 2.0, 3.0. Okay. Now tell me, is this subnet public or private?
Private.
You cannot say, right? By looking at this here, we cannot say. Yes or no?
Yeah, we need to go to route table.
We need to look at a route table. So which routing table is associated? Okay. The routing table associated is default routing table. What is the routes in that? Only internal route is there. There is no option to reach internet. So it is a private.
Yes.
So it is a private. Okay.
So it is private subnet, but it is not connected to any public subnet now.
Yeah, it is a private subnet. It is an isolated, separate, okay, subnet. So, okay, it is a private subnet. It's a public subnet. Clear? Okay, let us try to launch one server in the public subnet, one server in the private subnet, and we'll see how the connectivity will happen. Okay. So you all know how to launch the VM now, right? You all know how to launch the VM, right?
Yes, sir. But
So
sir, is it subnet? Is it connected to the public subnet now or not?
which one?
The private subnet, which we have just created
Now
now.
you tell me. You tell me. Okay, let us try to filter with our VPC. Okay, my VPC app VPC. Now is a private subnet, right? Is that connected to internet? You tell me. Where is the routing? This is the routing. Is there any chance to connect internet?
No.
No. There is no chance to connect internet. It is the only internal point.
Okay.
Internal point of view, these two subnets can connect with the help of this routing mechanism. Suppose in the public you have a web server, here a private app server is there. These two can connect. These two servers can connect. Again, there are some restrictions, right? So what are those?
Yes.
I told you, like, okay, if someone allowed at gated community, then only you will allow to internally, right? What is that? I told. Server level, okay, fine. Oh, sorry, subnet level routing is fine. Routing is there, okay, fine. Will it connect?
Only once we give the access.
No.
What was the
I
ask,
told-
sir?
Okay, let us try to look at now. So we have an okay, two subnets. These two subnets are also connected with this routing table, fine. Okay, these are connected with this routing table. Now we have a two servers here, server 1, server 2. These two will connect now.
Yes.
Okay, these two servers, there is a path is there to reach to there. Path is there to reach to there. But there are some more restrictions are there, right? What we discussed.
Security groups.
Exactly. There are some more
We can.
restrictions are there on the server level. That is the security groups. One more restriction also there.
Subnet level group.
ACLs are
ACLs.
there. What is ACL? ACL is
Access control list.
control list. When allowed these two, then only we discuss, right? ACL we thought of like on a community level gate. It is a server level, that is home level, we have a restrictions. That is what we understand, right?
Yes.
So we have though you have a routing path is there, okay, path is there. That doesn't mean that, okay, everyone is allowed, right? Path is there means it is not that, okay, everyone is allowed. So though you have a routing path, it should allow. In the security group, you should allow. Then only you can connect. Okay, fine. So now what we'll do, we'll try to launch two VMs in two different subnets, and we'll see how it is going to connect. Okay. So let us go to, what is the service we have to launch? EC2, right? So simply we'll go to EC2. Okay, in EC2, what I'll do, we'll try to launch two servers in two different subnets. Okay. So launch instance, name the VM1 or else public subnet line. To make it our clear, okay, public server, something like that. Okay. So I'm taking Amazon Linux. Okay. So we'll take a free tier 1 T2 micro. Which key pair I have to select? Okay. Actually, I'm using different laptops. So I'll create a new key pair actually. Create a new key pair. Okay. Okay. Something like, okay, PEM file or PPK file. In Windows, when you are trying to connect, you can create a PPK file. With the putty, we can connect. Or if you have a, okay, if you have a Linux to Linux connectivity. Okay, let us try to take a PEM file. I'll show you how to convert PEM to PPK also. Create a key pair. Then rest of the things I am not that much interested now. Let us try to launch the VM. So, my mistake. Sorry, guys. So, my bad. Okay. So we try to terminate this. Okay. We try to terminate action. Where we can terminate? Instance state terminate. So how it will happen? It will go to shutting down list. Then it will go
And
to
then-
terminate. So let us launch new VM. New VM. The VM name is VM1 hyphen public. Okay. VM1 hyphen public. Okay. VM1 hyphen public, whatever. That is fine. Amazon Linux. EC2 keep that key pair name is batch 62. That is fine. Okay. Now the network settings we have to take. It is picking up default VPC. No, I have my own VPC now, right? I have my own VPC. That is an app prod. Previously, I forgot to select this actually. But which subnet? That is a public subnet. Okay. So my VPC, that is the app prod, then public subnet. So then fine. Okay, let us try to launch this. Okay, this part I missed actually. So now we have one VM. Let us launch quickly one more VM. Okay. Launch. Okay, VM2 hyphen. Okay, VM2 hyphen private. Okay. So here rest of all the things are fine. Key pair name I selected as batch 62 and network I'll select okay my app prod and see here automatic public IP is disabled. You see here automatic public IP is disabled. If you want to enable, you can do that. In my public side, I forgot that. Okay, that is fine. That is fine. Okay, you can try to look at here now. So let us try to launch it. Now try to understand. We have a two VMs now. We have a two VMs. One is in public subnet. Other one is private subnet. Right? I forgot about this terminating one. Okay. So two servers are in running state. One is in public subnet. One is in private subnet.
Private subnet. Yeah.
Okay. Let us see like. Which subnet it is launched. If you want, you can go and look at in the networking. Okay, in the networking, you can see like, okay, which subnet it is. All the details, like what is the IP address, what is the instance ID. Okay, so you can look at all the details here. What is the subnet ID? Private subnet one. Okay, all the details you can try to make. If you want to see here itself, you can try to select all the, okay, what exactly you want to see. Instance state. If you don't require, suppose, let us say, okay, suppose alarm status, I don't require, you can remove that. Okay, you can, whichever, see, some of the options are, okay, disabled. Okay, some of the options are enabled. If you require anything, you can try to, let us say, key pair you want to see, launch time you want to see, platform details, anything you want to see, you can try to maintain that. Fine. Now we have a two servers. If you observe here, public subnet, public server one, networking are, okay, you can look at details here. We don't have a public IP. Private IP we have, but in production, as I told you, right, we have only private IPs. But we don't have even public IP also. So if you don't have a public IP, how to connect? How to connect? So basically what happens now? So for our server, we don't have a public IP. How to connect them? In production, right, we have an our own VPN setup to our environment so that we don't require public IPs to connect. We deal with the private IPs only. For this particular server, we don't have a public IP, even we don't have a VPN. The problem with the public IP, let us say you have a private public IP, let us say for this server, okay, let us say we consider we have a public IP. The problem with the public IP is whenever you stop and start the server, right? Whenever you stop and start the server, you lose this public IP. You'll get a new public IP. Okay, whenever you launch the server, you get a public IP, suppose. If you stop and start, every time you'll get a new public IP. Sometimes it will create a problem to us, like, okay, suppose a known server, a network device, you are using somewhere that IP. So if it is keep on changing, that will create a problem to us. In such situations, we have one elastic IP. Elastic IP is a static public IP kind of. So what is that? Elastic IP is nothing but static public IP. If you look at here, I'm trying to allocate elastic IP. So if you stop a server, start a server, doesn't matter. You don't lose this IP kind of. Okay, let us say I'm trying to allocate an IP. So this is static public IP. Elastic IP is static public IP. You cannot. Okay, so again, the problem with the elastic IP is you can create up to 5 only in this. Again, you created, but you are not using it. Suppose they will charge. Remember, if you have taken elastic IP, but I have not associated to any of the server. See, associated instance ID is nothing, right? If you are not using this elastic IP, suppose your server is in stopped state, you assign to it, fine, but it is stopped state, then also they charge. If it is not useful, you can release it. In production, in your organizations, don't do that, okay? They intentionally, they maintain that elastic IPs, okay? But you are using in your account, suppose you created elastic IP for any reason, if you are not using it, immediately delete that. Release that IP. So now what I'll do, I'll try to associate this with our public server to connect, okay? Associate elastic IP address. To which server I want to allocate? Let us say public. I want to connect it, right? Public. So let us say associate. Now, what is the difference between public IP and elastic IP in AWS? What is the difference between public IP and elastic IP? Public IP will keep on change. Whenever you stop and start the server, that public IP will keep on change. Elastic IP is a static public IP kind of. Okay. So though you stop, start, it doesn't change. You have a control on it. The problem with the elastic IP is if you don't use, they'll charge for that. If you are associated with any of the server, if that is running, then they don't charge. Clear? Now, let us try to connect to this server. If you look at here, as of now, you don't have a public IP here, you see. We'll try to refresh this. Okay. Now you have an elastic IP. If you want to connect, in previously how we connected, simply we said connect here. We try to connect this, right? So the other options are like SSH client. Linux will use a SSH protocol. Okay, SSH, Secure Shell Protocol. So if you want to connect it, first thing you have to do is chmod. The file permissions you have to change. Okay, so all of you try to install one git bash. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. So go to git-scm.com, git-scm.com. Try to install the git bash. So download for Windows here, right? Just say next and finish. So there is a, when you try to search for git, right? You have a git bash, git GUI, git cmd. I'm taking a bash shell, okay? Like you can run some Linux commands also here. Okay? So what I'll do, I'm increasing the font. Where I downloaded, go to CD, change directory to downloads. So what they're asking to do first, only first time you have to change the permissions, no need of every time. Okay, chmod. Chmod is a command to change the permissions. Okay, done. Now you can connect it. So this is the way you can connect. Okay. It is connected. Yes. It is connected. Okay. Similarly, we'll try to connect the other private server also. Okay. So we'll go to the private server. Here you have an elastic IP, right? You have an elastic IP. Okay. Select that. I need not to run chmod again. Why? Because already I ran, right? Just simply I'll change this IP. Username is ec2-user and this IP. Is that connecting? No, it is not connecting. Why? Any idea? Why it is not connecting?
The private subnet.
Because my packet is not reaching here. Previously, it has reached through this internet gateway, through this routing table. It has reached to the server. Now you don't have option to connect this.
Yes.
That's why it is saying that connection timed out. It is trying to connect, but okay, there is a no route. There is a no route to that. Because of there is no route, it is failed to connect. Okay, let us try to do some manipulation. Okay, this private subnet. Which subnet it is located? Go to networking. Which subnet? Okay, this subnet. Okay, let us try to open this subnet. This subnet is a private subnet, right? This subnet is private. How the routing mechanism is there? Routing table. Oh, it is connected to default routing table. There is no internet option. That's why it is not connecting. Let us edit this routing table. Okay, let us go to this routing table first. In this routing table, I'll try to add routes such a way, add route. I added internet gateway. Now tell me, is this default routing now private or public?
Now it's public.
Public. Sir.
It become public now.
Yes.
Now tell me, this subnet. Okay, now tell me. Okay, this private subnet now private or public now?
Public.
If you look at routing table association, it has an option
Public.
internet through internet.
Gateway.
So my
It is
private
public.
server is not a private server anymore. My private subnet is not private subnet anymore. It has become public.
Yes.
Previously, it was not reaching, right? Now try to reach it. It is reaching or not check. Now it is reaching. Because we updated routing table. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us remove this now. Let us remove this routing, okay? Go to this routing table again. Routes. Edit routes. Oh no, it is a private subnet. It is sensitive servers are there. I don't want to make it public. Remove that. Save changes. Now can we reach it now? Is that possible to reach now?
No.
Ideally, no. It should not reach. Yeah, it is not reaching. It is not reaching. Okay, fine. So now what we'll do? It will go here. So let us say in production, then how can we reach? In general, in production, what happens? We maintain one server in the public subnet. Let us say this, we call it as a gem box or bastion host. What we call it as bastion host or gem box. So what we'll do, we'll try to connect to this server first. What we'll do in production, we'll maintain some gem boxes or bastion host they call. We'll connect to this server first. From there, we'll connect to rest of all the servers because internally allowed, right? Internally allowed, right? So here, from here, we try to connect all the servers. Internally, we can try to connect this server to this server because we have a routing table internally. Okay, any of the server basically. From here, we can connect to any server. That's up to you. Clear?
So you mean without connecting to internet gateway?
Yeah, so we are not allowed to connect through that, right? Private subnets, we should not connect internet gateway. So how to connect? Let us say my administrator. Okay, I want to connect. I want to connect. So what I'll do, I'll connect to one gem box. Okay, from here, I can establish a connectivity to this server. Why? Because internally allowed, right?
Yes.
Okay, I can connect from here to here, here to here, anywhere. So one Windows or Linux gem box we maintain, gem box or bash and host. With that particular server, okay, we can able to connect it.
So you mean we have to connect it to the first public subnet, then after
One of the server in the public subnet.
Okay.
From there, we can establish the connectivity.
Connect.
Otherwise, what happens in general? We have our office, corporate office. From corporate office to our Amazon network or Azure network, wherever you are using, they set up one direct connect. In AWS, we call it the direct connect. Same thing in Azure, we call it the express router. Okay, both are same. So they set up one private connectivity so that you can directly establish a connectivity like this. Okay. So we need not to have a public IPs. With the private IPs only, you can connect. Okay. So this is the VPC, public subnet, private subnet, how to launch the servers in that, how to establish a connectivity and all those stuff. It is a very basic topic actually. We have many options, like we need to understand what is a NAT gateway. Okay, fine. Okay, let us try to understand now. Okay, fine. From the public subnet server, okay, from the public subnet server or some VPN, we connected to this server, fine. From here, I want to download some package. I want to connect to internet. I want to get something. I cannot reach to internet now. I cannot reach to internet now. So what I have to do? We have to use some NAT instance or NAT gateway. We call it as NAT gateway. So, okay, you can try to create a NAT gateways. So NAT gateways are not free. It is chargeable. NAT gateways are chargeable. Okay, if you create also within 1 hour, delete it. Okay, peering connections. What are the peering connections? If the two are,
Connection.
if you have a more VPCs, you want to connect them securely, privately, internally you want to connect, then peering connection will be useful. The problem
Connecting.
with the peering connection, let us say we have an, how many VPCs we have? 3 VPCs are there, let us say. How many VPCs are there? Let us say 3 VPCs are there. 1 to 4 VPCs are there. 4 VPCs are there. Okay. In these 4 VPCs, we set up a connectivity like this. A VPC is connected to B. B is connected with C. Okay. B is connected with C. Okay. A is connected with B. B is connected with C. Will establish connectivity to A to C? No. With the peering connection, you have to set up A to C also. Okay. Let us say A VPC is there, B VPC. One-to-one connectivity you have to set up, then only it will work. Okay, if A is connected to B, B is connected to C, A and C are not connected. You have to establish connectivity separately A to C. You have to create a VPC peering separately A to C. Then only it will work. That is a problem. You have to create one-to-one connections. Lot of connections will happen. Let us say you created one more VPC, suppose. You have created one more VPC, suppose. You have to set up like from here to here, here to here, here to here, 3 more connections came. Suppose one more VPC came, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 connections we have to set up. Such a way, as and when VPCs are growing, so you have to add lot of peering connections. You have to update the routing tables and all. So that is a very tedious task. So that's why transit gateway comes in a picture, like we'll try to look at in the next session, guys. All of you, I'm expecting you practice till here today. Okay, till here you practice it. Okay, we'll try to take the EC2 session again. We'll try to jump into EC2 for time being. Okay, so some more advanced topics we'll try to complete in EC2. Then we'll jump here. We'll try to understand what is an okay, for basic understanding, you know now what is VPC, what is the subnets, what is the public subnet and private subnet, what is the public IP and private IP. Okay, so we'll try to come back to the VPC again. Then we'll try to understand what is carrier gateways, DHCP options, elastic IP. You know now what is elastic IP, right? So let us say now we have done with the task. Let us say I'm terminating these instances. Okay, I'm terminating these instances, suppose. Okay, but the elastic IP will remain here only. Elastic IPs will remain here only. So it is not allocated to any of the server. Okay, after some time, it will say not allocated to any of the server. Then the charges will apply. Remember, guys, the charges will apply. So what you have to do? What you have to do? Disassociate elastic IP if you want. Then release that IP. Remember, once you release, you cannot get the same kind of IP in your lifetime. That's why in production they may not be. But for you, for our point of view, like to practice it, right? So don't take elastic IPs, just try to delete once you have done testing. Okay. So just practice this VPC, guys, today.